everybody, I'm Elise Wong, and on this video I'm going to share with you a time-lapse video along with commentary on how I painted this orangutan. This is my next piece for my Malaysian Beauties project. I am going to do an episode about it. I'm going to put a link pop up when it's ready. I hope you click on it to learn a little bit more about orangutans. It's a project I created in order to help raise awareness and make people care about the animals living in Malaysia. But anyway, that aside, let's talk about this painting. For this painting, I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I'm gonna be straight with you because I can't lie to you. I hit a roadblock for this painting. Not every painting is gonna go as smooth. For me, every time I paint, every next painting is a challenge for me, and I will always have my doubts, but you just gotta pull through, you know. You have to ignore all those voices in your head that says that you're gonna have so much trouble. You just have to pull through, and this is what you get as an end result. So always have confidence in yourself. What I learned from this, I felt like there are three interrelating components that are quite essential when it comes to painting. One is knowledge. Of course, you have to know how to paint. Second is confidence, and confidence is also very important. Without confidence, the knowledge will not be of much use. And the third is planning. And all these are correlating it. One can't work without the other, vice versa. I was not confident in my planning, and this kind of screwed everything. I did not touch this painting for a few weeks and just delayed. One thing about art, a lot of people have this idea that it just comes out of nowhere. I tend to use photography as an example as well because I also enjoy doing photography, so on occasion I will use that as an example. So especially when it comes to photography, a lot of people think, alright, you're just gonna pick up that camera, take that winner shot, you know, and then that's it. But what people don't understand is that when it comes to photography, planning is so essential. For example, if you're doing studio photography, what are the lightings you require? You know, what are the studio lightings you require, the position you're gonna pose your model along with the lightings, how is it gonna hit your model or product, and then how bright are the lightings going to be? Do you have to take all this into consideration? Planning is really important. In this case, I actually sort of had everything planned already. I know I wanted a black and white orangutan, except for the eyes, it's going to be colored. I know how I'm gonna get the texture roughly, and yeah, so I thought I had everything planned, but the thing was, I did not have the confidence to pull it off. I used a new technique where I used a sponge in order to dab on the face of the orangutan to give that nice, like a skin texture. So I tried to do that, but this is my first time pulling off a black and white with acrylics, and therefore I was not confident enough. So because my confidence level was not up to par, my planning was affected, my knowledge was affected, and because of this, I did not touch this for a few weeks. Every artist have a rough patch, and not everything is gonna go smooth. So I couldn't face it. I really didn't want to do it. I just felt so unconfident at this point. Until one day, I know I have to finish it. It's been sitting in my room for weeks and untouched, and especially when it's still at the ugly phase. And during the ugly phase, a lot of artists will be unmotivated because it looks very two-dimensional. Alright, I knew I had to pull myself together and push myself, and that's what I did. And once I picked up that paintbrush and started, and then I felt like, okay, it's not as hard as it was. I don't know why I was freaking out in the first place. And 2 days later, bam, I finished this. So you gotta have confidence in yourself. This is done with acrylics. This is my first time using Golden Artist colors. I am slowly transitioning from student grade acrylics to professional grade. So yay, little victory. Golden Artist colors on a 18 by 12 inch canvas. Planning your painting is really important. I usually start by painting the background. In this case, it's going to be total black. And it's going to be black and white. So next I'm going to paint the color of the orangutan, which is, I'm going to start with the shadow, so it's going to be dark gray. Unfortunately, when I mixed the paint, the gray was a bit light, so I used a black wash to darken the grays a little. Right now I'm airbrushing the fur in the distance, so it's going to be blurred to really add to the depth of field. For canvas paintings, I usually start with dark colors and then I move on to the light. However, when it comes to airbrushing, I find it kind of works the opposite way for me. I usually start with light colors first and then I end it with black. So right now I'm painting the light grays and gonna add more to certain places to make it look brighter. And then I am going to follow up by using a black to control the amount of brightness showing through. So right now I'm using black. I'm going to eliminate some of the gray areas and also to darken some places where it needs to be. Forgive my pronunciation, I'm wearing braces. Right now I'm using a sponge to add texture to the skin of the orangutan. You can get natural sea sponge from art stores, which is really good because the texture it gives is really random, which is really perfect, especially if you want to go for a realistic approach. Right now, I'm using a kitchen sponge because, being a starving artist and all that. So I'm using a kitchen sponge, which is a lot cheaper, but the pattern is very repetitive. It's not random. So you have to work around that if you want to save money. But if you can afford a sea sponge, go ahead. It's not that expensive. It's just that I'd rather save my money on certain products. I'm just lightly dabbing the paint. This gives a really natural texture to the skin if, as compared to if I use a brush. However, another way you can do this is to actually use your fingers, whereby you put paint on your fingers and you dab them on your painting, as your fingerprints will actually provide the texture. After this, I'm going to start working on the eyes, and that's really important, especially when it is a portrait, because the thing about portraits that never gets old is the eyes, and the eyes are the ones that's going to capture your viewer's attention. So you're going to have to take your time and work on that because it's going to be your central focal point. The rest of the details is not going to be as important as the eyes. Right now I'm using golden artist colors. This is my first time using it and I love it because the blending is really easy. It doesn't dry as fast and I find it a whole lot easier to blend. Usually if I use my previous acrylic paints, I have to go so many rounds for it to get that nice blend. But for golden artist colors, I'm just one try and it blends really well. So I was really happy. I managed to finish the eyes really fast as compared to my other paintings. So I finished this fairly quickly. So I'm taking real care of the eyes. I wanted to give a lot more attention to the eyes, so the picture is black and white, whilst the eyes have strong saturated colors. And some people finish the portrait with the eyes, but if you actually start the eyes from the beginning or in the middle, it is going to be a central focal point in the sense that your eyes is going to be the main attraction for your viewer, and the rest of the details you don't have to put so much effort into it, because if you do, then your eyes is going to compete with the rest of the painting, the rest of the fur. You don't want that. You have to plan your painting to the point that when your viewer look at it, the viewer know where to look. You're not going to overdo your painting and make things so complicated that you don't know where the viewer's eyes will land. In this case, I am very sure I want it to land on the eyes. So for the fur, I'm not going to overdo it. the whole painting is not going to be covered with fur. As you can see, the fur on the orangutan's head is not going to fill up the entire canvas. It's just going to be very minimal, just to give that nice balance to the whole thing. It's kind of like photography. You have to plan which part of the photo you want your viewers to see. Of course, you want them to see the entire thing, but where do you want your viewers to see right off the bat, right off the get-go? Painting the lips, you're not going to give it an illusion of smoothness. It's going to be a little rough because even your lips, you can see it's not straight, it's not a smooth surface. It's going to have like little cracks in them. So the highlights and shadows is going to be very uneven, a little spot here, a little jaggedy over there. Now I'm painting the fur on the chin. And as you can see, the formation of fur on the chin is different from the above fur on the face. You have to pay close attention to your reference photo, as this will really give it the illusion of reality to it. Now I'm adding the highlights. Highlights are really important because our eyes are very attracted to light, but keep your highlights to a minimal. Highlights are like that little dessert after a big meal. You can't have it too much. Now I'm painting the fur on the hands. But using a filbert brush, it really makes the fur look too perfect, too much information. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a liner brush and paint the individual hairs, give it its messiness. If it's too perfect, too in line, it's not going to make it look real. Thanks guys for watching. I really hope you find this interesting and helpful. It really means the world if you like and subscribe. So far, I think this is my 23rd video on YouTube. I definitely want to do more, and it would mean the world if I have your constant support. It really motivates me doing what I love, and I appreciate everything. You guys are just really awesome. I just wanted to thank you guys. If you're new to my channel, I would love for you to subscribe. And if you'd like to keep up to date with my photos and paintings, you can follow me in the following sites linked down below in the video description. They are Facebook, Blogspot, Google+, and Deviantart. That's all for today, and thank you for watching. See you guys in the next video. Love you guys.